Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is your girl, Miss Honey, coming to you guys with another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. I'm excited about the upcoming holidays. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. And I hope you have fun, food, fellowship, and festivities planned for the holidays with your family and friends. Hopefully, we'll get to see each other at least two more times before the holiday. We'll see how it goes. Um, but yeah, let's get into Real Housewives of Atlanta. This episode really was about Cynthia's moment. This was Cynthia's moment. One thing I will say is that, and I know you guys have heard by now, have probably heard a ton of reviews for Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I kind of want to just stick and move here and talk about some of the three main storylines that played out in this episode. Sorry, you guys. Y'all know it's raining. It's cold here in Atlanta, and it just wreaks havoc in your sinus passages. So please forgive me for the snorting and the coughing and sneezing. You know, it is what it is. This episode was really about Cynthia's moment. It was the pinnacle of the episode, and it happened very early on in the episode. We did get to see a scene where Mike was with Cynthia and his kids and Noelle and her family and all at a big, beautiful dinner. And he just proclaimed his love for Cynthia and asked if they would not mind in him being a part of the family. You know, like someday soon they wanted to get married, and he wanted to know if that was okay with them. He got a resounding yes on that. Like I said, what I noticed most about Cynthia as it pertains to Mike Hill is that she has so much more confidence. She's just walking in this really confident, vivacious place. She was much more subdued and kind of mealy mouthed and just go along to get along with Peter. I think maybe because Peter was a lot more demonstrative than Mike Hill. I'm not saying, I don't know for sure, but that's kind of what it seems like. Whereas with Mike Hill, she's just allowed to be her regular old, regular, degular, schmegular, farty, silly, goofy, thirsty Cynthia. And he just embraces it all. He comes alongside of her and compliments it. And vice versa. Cynthia can be super, super glam, or she can be, your girl next door type, tennis shoes, backpack, you know what I'm saying, boyfriend jeans. She's just able to be her most vivacious self with Mike Hill. And for that, I can appreciate his presence on the show. So Mike Hill is in Atlanta, of course. And as she's pulling the last final things together for the Bailey agency, for the Bailey wine cellar, which, by the way, the piece of property that she got actually houses two businesses. One, I think, is like a little cafe, speakeasy type area, and then it bumps right up against the Bailey wine cellar. So the two businesses are interchangeable and interactive. So really, really beautiful spot. It's decorated beautiful. Cynthia did a wonderful job. Grant Park is a very up and coming, affluent part of the city of Atlanta. And, it's where the zoo is. It used to be where the cyclorama is. I don't think the cyclorama is in function anymore. And it's probably like 2 blocks away from the penitentiary. Just to show you how Atlanta is set up. Like, you could take 2 wrong streets and be right there on Confederate Avenue. Penitentiary. Anyway, it's a beautiful spot. So she's getting the finishing touches on that because she's going to have this grand opening for the Bailey wine cellar. Meanwhile, Mike has gone down to take the girls, his daughters, two daughters, and Noelle, to see the ring that he bought. Like, he's really including them in this whole process. It's just a really genuine moment. He introduces them as his daughters. Later on, he makes sure he lets all of them know that he loves them. They were instrumental in helping him pull off this proposal to Cynthia. It was real cute how it was done, and like it seemed like the whole family knew. Everybody knew but Cynthia, and it was just such a beautiful moment. We see where, meanwhile, before the opening, we see where she goes and sits down with Marlo, and she talks to Marlo about Snakegate. And Marlo did try to act indignant slightly. I think it could have went like way, way left and been like super, super Nene dramatic, or it could have just taken this sort of lackadaisy, matter of fact, that type of vibe where it just didn't seem believable. She kind of straddled in between the middle, you kind of making a tear come to my eye. I was like, crying don't come like that. Crying don't happen like that. Crying don't work like that. Take it from a bona fide water baby. So it was a little extra, but I believe her. I believe she said, how? Why would I do that? One, that's so low down. She doesn't really have to do it either. I mean, she can be as demonstrative and loud about the situation as she possibly can, and people would still listen, which is what Marlo is known for doing. Also, she says, when have you dogged Nene to the point where I needed to record you? Like, you don't talk to me about Nene like that. And how often have we sat down and had these opportunities for you to rake Nene over the coals? Like, no, I didn't record you. And I believe her. And Cynthia believed her too. Now, Cynthia, like I said, she approached this conversation with a lot of confidence. But Cynthia is the kind of individual who has always given people the benefit of the doubt, which is how she ended up marrying Peter. Even though she knew a lot about the Peter situation, his finances and his failed businesses and stuff, she was still giving him the benefit of the doubt up until the very end, where she just could not take it anymore. So this is what Cynthia does. This is who she is. So like I said, I believe her. I agree. So that was a good moment. Then we get to the Bailey wine cellar opening, and everyone is there. Mike is there, and he's being super helpful. It's a beautiful, beautiful grand opening. I mean, Cynthia has a beautiful aesthetic. Even though it's an event planner that does it all, still to have an event planner that understands your aesthetics. It was very modern. It was very clean. It was still very pretty, very fresh. It could easily be a wine cellar in New York City. I mean, it just had a beautiful, beautiful vibe to it. We get to see Candy and Todd. Portia comes, and Marlo comes. Marlo comes, and she is bearing gifts, crudité trays, and with cheese and crackers and fruit and vegetables, things that kind of go in tandem with wines, different wines, And also she has a card, and that card is from Nene. And Nene put some very kind words in the card. And she also had this moment where she's writing about how she never thought they would be in that place, and she has always known that Cynthia was a star and a go-getter, and it was a moment for Cynthia. Like, she needed to hear those affirmations, because over the last few months she's heard all of this negative, right? So it was a good moment. Mike was right there to support her. Other people coming up to greet her and just celebrate her, and Mike Hill takes the opportunity to tell Candy that she needs to stick around, like, hint hint, this is going to be something big. And, Candy's like, what? But then she texts Kenya that she thinks that Mike is going to propose. Like, today is the day. So when um, Kenya gets there and Cynthia shows Kenya the card, Kenya immediately starts poo-pooing it and having these negative things to say about the card and just belittling the moment. And it was hard for Cynthia. Cynthia was like, I choose to accept it, for what it is. And so Kenya was like, well, I mean, it's apology. Oh, wait a minute. Was that an apology? Did I see an apology? And Cynthia was looking over like, no, it's not really an apology, but still it was something. It was a bit of a peace offering, and Cynthia was willing to accept it. Like, it wasn't Kenya's place, right? So then Kenya decides to say that she thinks that Mark is going to propose to her that day. And Candy was so upset with her because why would you steal Cynthia's moment? Why would you do that? Why would you? It was supposed to be a surprise. Why would you come and alert her in this manner? Like, why would you do that? And Candy took her outside and kind of gave her what for. It bothered Candy. Later on, we get to see Candy talking to Todd about it. And this is the thing that lets me know that Candy and Todd have a good friendship as well as relationship. They have their ups and downs, but her telling him, he came right alongside her. He was like, why would she do that? Why would, it's not your moment. I thought that was really, really wonderful. Anyway, the moment comes. Her mom is there, her siblings, everyone is there, and Mike uses the girls to initiate, a pop the bottle, pop the question type scenario, and it was just a moment. And he gave a great speech. He gave her a beautiful ring, and it was just lovely. Everybody was just super, super, super excited. Now, when Kenya first got there, she could barely say hello before she locked Candy and Cynthia both into a couple's dinner with their men and Mark, because Mark is in town too. Now, Mark is not at this event, but Mark is in town. So it was just the way Kenya behaved was just weird, but we're going to talk about it. So it was all a great success. We also see where Candy and Todd have this discussion about the fact that he's opening several businesses, but he's not. He's got several irons in the fire, but nothing he has completed, and she just feels anxious. Candy didn't get where she is without being cautious and smart about her money, so I could see where she's coming from. What I wanted to point out in this scene, and you guys tell me if you saw it, maybe it was edited out, but he was saying, what's going on with you? You used to just get behind me and be like, you can do it, and just like rah-rah and supportive, and now you're being negative. It seemed like to me she got angry, and she took it as him saying she doesn't know about business or how to do business. I was like, what happened there? What happened there? And she just took this like really defensive stance. And it kind of reminded me of when she was talking to Kenya about how Mark is. And Kenya was saying you and Mark are kind of like in that way. I think temperament wise, it just kind of seemed like she what he said and what she heard was two different things, and she just kind of dove in there like, I know you're not trying, I know more about business than you do. I was like, whoa, 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 why is it going down this hard right turn like this? This is crazy. And then we get to the bottom of it, which is what I'm upset with you about is not what I'm upset with you about. I'm coming to you like these businesses, you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. You got too many irons in the fire, and it's really about the fact that you're so busy here and there that we're not getting our time together. We got this another child coming, and she's not feeling like he's paying her any attention. And this is what the crust of the conversation is really about. This is why she the main reason why she's upset. And so he concedes that he needs to spend a little bit more time with her, do a couple of more date nights and that type of thing. Basically, she needs her back broke. She needs her back broke, and she needs to be told that she's pretty. Why are you breaking her back? So it was a good moment. Let's move on to Kenya, which is the reason why we are here. So Mark and Kenya are on their way to meet. This is the day after the Bailey wine cellar opening and Cynthia being proposed to. Cynthia comes in with Mike Hill first. They get a table. I think they're at McKendrick's, which is a steakhouse, seafood house. And we see on the way there is Cynthia and Mark, and they're in the car. And now let's talk about Kenya just for a second. You know, that thing that Kenya did at the grand opening, it was just like what she was doing at Cynthia's Bailey Q. And we learned that Cynthia is not privy to all of the conversations that Kenya's giving Candy and Portia about what's going on with her and Mark. Every time we see Cynthia and Kenya together, Kenya is kind of slighting Cynthia about being thirsty, about, are you sure he's ready to move in? Do you need to be doing all of this, in terms of getting her closet and stuff together to move him in? And it has gotten to a point where Cynthia was like, I don't care about what you're saying. Like, this is what's right for me. Kind of in their own way. And you fast forward to the Bailey wine cellar opening, and she's kind of raining or peeing on the fact that Cynthia was feeling good about the gesture that Nene made. And then you try to just completely blow up Mike's surprise proposal to Cynthia. And when Candy called her on it, she kind of played like a little bit of dodo bird. Like, you think so? So now we're in the car on the way to dinner to meet the other couples, and she's trying to have like this general conversation with him about the car and getting around the city and all. And another, doesn't matter what she says. If she says salt is salty, he says, of course salt is salty. No, no joke. Like, whatever she says, no matter what it is, he takes a dig at it. He takes a swipe at it. He slights her. Okay? All right? And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's these little cutting remarks that's meant to take a little bit of air out of her. If she's coming in and she is high and she is joyous, he will take pew, 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 couple of shots and let a little bit of air out of that, so you can come down here and walk amongst regular people. And I say that because I think that is his overall problem with Kenya. His overall problem with Kenya is that, one, he married her probably because she is beautiful and she has a bit of affluence and influence, and she is a brick house. She's got a beautiful body. And I think these are the things that he was seeing. Getting to know her, it seems like to me, and y'all tell me what y'all think, that he may have a bit of a problem with her character. He's coming across to me like he may be a little bit more rooted, a little bit more grounded, and he is actually offended at how pretentious and grandiose and extra, if you will, that she is. He refuses to validate her. It's almost as if he is kind to her. If he is nice to her, she will get ahead of herself. She will get the big head, and he can't have that. I'm just talking about what it seems like his perspective is. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it's going to always come back to the same thing. You guys had no idea who each other really, really was. All you had were these, kind of 51st dates type situation. And honestly, it's crazy to me because they are so opposite. They are so opposite. When everyone gets there, the men sit on one side and the ladies automatically are going to sit across from their husbands, and Kenya decides to switch it up a little bit and move the wives around. So I think Kenya's sitting across from Mike, Cynthia's sitting across from Todd, and Candy is sitting across from Mark. And the conversation comes up about how they got engaged, and she kind of wanted everybody to hear the story and kind of take her side to it. And he knows it when he tells the story. The guys are just like, I ain't finna get in it. The girls, of course, was like, that's what you did? Oh, it wasn't it. She surprised him and came up. He wasn't expecting her. Once he realized she was there, he went and got the ring and says, something about, I guess, this makes you official or something like that. It was weird. It was weird. Then they ask about the wedding and how beautiful the wedding was. Of course, nobody was invited. And she says that was one of the best moments of her life. Like she said, I think she said that was the second best moment of her life. And they were like, what was your first? And she was like, winning Miss Universe or Miss America or whatever it was that she won. And Candy said the same thing I said. You having your daughter Brooklyn wasn't up there anywhere. You would have thought that it would have been in the top two. Even her saying that kind of grated his nerves a little bit. And then we come to this place in the awkwardness, because it's this awkward moment now where she is down on that end and he is catty corner on the opposite end. And there's these little slices, there's these little digs that he is taking that really speaks to her character, right? She's all glitzy and glamorous, and I'm not into that. They talk about the prenup. If we even have to talk about prenups, I don't even want to be with you. Well, what if she wants to take Suka, your restaurant? Y'all get a divorce, heaven forbid, and she wants to take the restaurant. Candy poses this question, and he says she can have it. I got one restaurant, I'll get another one. And it does seem cocky and very machismo, but I believe what he's saying. I believe she could have it all, as long as he didn't have to deal with her no more. Like, he is fully in a place where I just don't think he cares for her. I think the honeymoon is over. I think he kind of finds her distasteful. It seems like to me, he makes this comment. Somebody makes this comment about Nene. He's like, I hear all these things about Nene. I like her. Now, one of the excuses he gave was that when he first met her, everything had happened, and she was like, let me introduce you to my husband. And for him, that meant a lot. They lost me there. I was like, that was the momentous moment that made you realize that Nene was everything. Something else is going on. Something else is happening here. What? I am not quite sure, but yeah. But, and he's kind of defending Nene. Well, when Nene said the thing about when I was carrying Brooklyn, this is what she's saying. She's reminding him, opportunity for you to speak nicely of me and to be on my side. He was like, yeah, she said something mean. She said something nasty, but then she apologized. And Kenya was like, no. He's like, I thought you told me that she called and she apologized. And she tried to apologize, but you wouldn't take the call. And Kenya was like, that's neither here nor there. For him, it was a lot more simpler. Now, the other guys wouldn't have said it. They all said, if my wife don't like you, I can't like you either. I mean, it's understood. Right? But I think he values her so little in terms of character and who she is as a person, that it is easier for him to believe someone else's word or behaviors against her than it is for him to believe that she is an individual that doesn't deserve it or deserves better. I think he finds her to be um, paper thin, shallow as a teaspoon, materialistic. He, y'all tell me what y'all think. It At the end of the dinner, Kenya stands up and gives this toast. It was the weirdest, most awkward toast. It was kind of like, you guys are great stand-up guys, and you ride with your women who are bosses and wear the crown, and hopefully other people can learn from you all. Like, it was directed at him, and he was just like, if she had something, I think, in his eyes that was substantial and a little bit more, I guess, tangible, something that wasn't so, you know, so Hollywood or seemed so frivolous. I just think he's in this place where he finds her to be tissue paper thin. He finds her to be shallow and vain and materialistic. I think every opportunity he gets to take her down a peg or two, that's what he does. And it is a place of piousness. It is coming from this haughty place, like, I am judge and jury of it all. But the fact of the matter is, if you had just gotten to know her a little bit more, these are things that would have left you guys in a place where you could say, we used to date, but we didn't get married. But what's done is done. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that whole situation. I would love to know if you guys were getting the same vibes I was getting, or whatever it was. Share it down below. Let's talk about it. Today's a really good day because it's a light day at work. I have been terrible about answering the comments because I've been so busy with being on vacation and holidays and all of that. But today's a great day. It's a very quiet day at work. So you guys get down below and tell me what you think. On a lighter note, Portia and Dennis seem to be perking along nicely. It was his birthday during this episode, and she and Pilar celebrated him wonderfully and beautifully. And she claims that she's withholding the goodies because she wants him to really, really work on it. I'm glad for Portia and Dennis. I want them to work it out. You guys tell me what you think about this episode. Put it down below. I would love, love, love to know what you guys think about the whole Kenya situation. The way Mark kind of treats her, I think she kind of treats Cynthia that way. I think she's dismissive to Cynthia, and she's belittling to Cynthia, and she kind of poo-poos everything and dismisses everything Cynthia says. Like, she does not allow Cynthia to have a whole lot of joy. And she's not super supportive of Cynthia. Like I said, she hasn't really shared a lot of what's going on between her and Mark. And Cynthia says that we knew that they were having issues, but we never knew it was this bad. Like, that dinner was awkward. It is clear that he finds her distasteful. And that's probably why they're not sleeping together. Like, he's just like, I can't even much do it. And I'm not saying he's right for that or wrong for that. I'm just saying this looks like this is what is happening. And I think as she goes on in the show, it's going to be impossible for them to be together because this is how she makes her money. She makes her money by being this Kenya. And this is really who she is. If he finds it distasteful, how can they make the marriage work? It's not like he fell in love with her and consequently he has accepted everything about her. It's like it blindsided him once he realized it. He don't like her no more. He don't like her. He might love her as the mother of his child, but it don't seem like he like her at all. Like, he don't have to talk to her at all. Again, girl, I understand you getting your assets in order, but you need to get your paternity in order, because I think out of this whole thing, all he wants to take with him is little Brooklyn. Y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I holla.